Yo to the community, man. Welcome in, welcome in. We at it again, bro. We at it again. I'm a little late today, but neither here nor there. It's time to put that work in, man. Like I always say, the NBA season will start really, really shortly. The only thing I want to do before I actually get started is post the link real quick in the Twitter space as well, so people can see the YouTube if they want to join over there. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm not into wasting time. I'm into making money, and I do the homework so you guys don't have to. Maybe you guys do want to, do your own homework and listen in as well. But let's get into it, man. Let's talk about these two teams today. We got the Indiana Pacers and we got the Golden State Warriors. So for people who don't know, maybe you're new. I like to do a quick rundown, just real quick, before we get started. These team previews are just a quick highlight of what's transpired in the offseason with each one of these teams. I'll discuss additions and subtractions, a recap of last season, expectations for this season as well. Doing this just to kind of bring people up to speed, kind of talk some things out. Maybe we got some different opinions and just refresh memories about what happened with each one of these teams last year and kind of clarify roster moves. And last but not least, to make us all, better informed betters. We trying to win money off these teams for sure. So I always say if you stay ready, you don't got to worry about getting ready. So that's what we're trying to do, man. We got NBA basketball starting this week coming up. I don't know if you guys been paying attention, but the media days have started already as well. Golden State. We're gonna talk about Golden State in a minute, but Golden State Media Day actually is tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So that's something to look forward to. The Washington Wizards and the Atlanta Hawks had Media Day yesterday. So yeah, all those things are things to kind of look forward to. A lot of teams, I think majority of the teams, maybe about 26, 27 teams, actually have Media Day on Monday. So that's something else to look forward to. Just go to NBA.com, type in or go to Google, type in NBA.com Media Day, and you'll be able to watch these pressers from the players, from the coaches, just to see what kind of vibes they have coming into the season. The coaches will talk about what he expects from his team, what he expects from himself, and you can kind of start getting early vibes from these teams as well. On Friday, I watched the Wizards. Yesterday, I watched the Wizards. Yesterday, I watched the Atlanta Hawks. Got to see DeJounte Murray. I missed Trae Young. I got to go back and watch his. But Coach Nate McMillan, some of the guys that they bought in, just being able to hear them talk is always a good thing. And see what their expectations are. See, how they talk about their summer. You can tell who been in the gym, who hasn't. So everything, any kind of angle that we can get, any kind of edge that we can get, we definitely want to take advantage of it. So if you join late, or if you just joined, we're going to break down the Indiana Pacers and then talk about the Golden State Warriors. I posted the link up top if you guys want to jump over on YouTube. Feel free to do that as well. But with no further ado, man, let's just go ahead and get into it. We're going to stay on the East Coast first and break down the Indiana Pacers before we go to Golden State. I think the Pacers will be a tad bit quicker, and then we can talk about Golden State. So as far as the Pacers, they get Jalen Smith. He returned on a 2-year deal. They also get Willie Cauley-Stein, another big they got probably to replace a guy like T.J. Warren, who left and went to the Nets. And then they drafted Benedict, the Benedict kid. I forgot how you pronounce his last name. Mathurin. That's how you pronounce his last name. Benedict Mathurin was the Pac-12 Player of the Year. Averaged 18 points last year. Shot 45% from the field. I'm really excited for this kid. I think he has a really, really bright future in the NBA. He a baller. He a baller for sure. And I'll talk a little bit more about him in a second. When you think about subtractions, this team lost Malcolm Brogdon. He was traded to the Celtics. Rubio signed with the Cavs after he was acquired last year, and then T.J. Warren signed with the Nets. So they didn't lose a lot, but they also didn't gain a lot either. I don't think guys like Jalen Smith and Willie Cauley-Stein going impact this team too much. It'll definitely be a developmental year for Benedict Mathurin as he comes in and tries to solidify himself in the NBA in general. So as far as the last season recap, they made the midseason trade for Halliburton and Buddy Hield that sent Sabonis to Sacramento, and then so we saw the the rebuilding kind of start from there. Then you give away a guy like Malcolm Brogdon for a draft pick. They got a lot of assets over there. The problem is that the market in Indiana doesn't warrant a lot of players to actually want to come. Free agents not getting together saying, oh, we should go to Indiana together. So they have to kind of build from the draft, and you see that with a lot of these minor market teams or mid market teams, not these big teams that have all the attractive have all the attractions and the great weather. So last season, they allowed teams to shoot the second highest percentage from three. They allowed teams to shoot the sixth highest percentage from two, and they were the 10th worst rebounding team in the league as well. I don't necessarily see a lot of fixes over there. Like I said, I think they'll continue to be in rebuilding mode. If you were a part of any of the NBA spaces that I did last year, we cashed a lot taking the opposite team, points over against the Pacers defense. They were a team that played at an extremely fast pace, and that's what you're looking for. A team that wants to get out and push on offense, but doesn't play a lot of defense. I'll still be looking to capitalize on that again this year. I think that trend kind of rolls in. You know, Coach Carlisle is a defensive-minded coach, but you got to get your players to be able to buy in. I don't know how much they can get there. I don't know how much he's going to be able to get these young guys to actually buy in and play defense. So as far as offseason notes, I talked about drafting the Benedict kid, right? So like I said, he averaged 19 point. He averaged a little less than 19 points last year, but then in the summer league, he also averaged 19 points in 3 summer league games this offseason too. He's a super athletic shooting guard. He'll dunk on you. He can get to the rim. He got a floater. He can shoot a little bit, which I'm interested to see how well his shot translates in the NBA as well. He can also create his own shot. Like I said, he got a nice floater, shoot the 3-ball a little bit. He plays hard, and I think he's a really good fit for a team like the Indiana Pacers to play along somebody like Halliburton. Because now that Malcolm Brogdon's gone, Halliburton got the keys to do whatever he want to do with that offense. And I think that I think the market's going to adjust pretty quickly to his rebounds, to his assists. Triple doubles probably won't be that, we won't get that great value on that, because this literally is Halliburton's team. They're developing this team, and Halliburton will have the ultra green light this year. So I look for a guy like Halliburton to get Benedict Mathurin, some good looks. I think, because we watched Halliburton last year just, dime it up when he was in Sacramento, even when he came over and was playing for the Indiana Pacers. The guy just loves to get others involved. He plays at a very high level. He has a really high motor as well. So I think the combination of those two together is going to be pretty cool. Then you get Chris Duarte back for his sophomore year. He's another guy that can score on all 3 levels. And I'm looking forward to watching him play as well. I think this team's going to be similar to like Sacramento. I don't think that they're going to make any noise in the Eastern Conference. Definitely don't have them competing even for a play-in seed. But I think they still have a lot of young talent that I'm interested in just seeing how they develop. And we still going to make money off of this team, whether we're betting with them on certain nights or we're betting against them. So I'm interested to see what that looks like as well. Last season, this team went and other thing I wanted to mention, this team also has an average age of 24 years old, which if that doesn't scream rebuild to you, I don't know what does, right? So a lot of rebuilding going on here. And I think, I think that's warranted. I think that this is a rebuilding year for this team. And like I said, I don't have the highest expectations as far as win-loss column. Last season, they finished 25-57. They missed the playoffs, of course. Projected win total this year is right on the line of what we saw last year, 24.5. So it's another rebuilding year. I've mentioned that already. They're going to be looking to develop guys like Halliburton even more, who's coming into his third years. Guys like Benedict Mathurin, who I talked about already. They drafted him 6. He's projected to be in the starting lineup this year. 24.5 wins is an extremely low number, but that's what the books are telling you. They don't expect a lot from a team like them. I think the bettors are kind of daring the public to take the under with it set so low. But I would still only be able to look towards the under. I just they still have trade talks about Miles Turner, who should be coming back this season from the injury that he sustained last year that kept him out for a majority of the games. They still don't have enough pieces to actually contend. Like I said, even for a play-in game, that they may even look like a team that wants to trade some of their vets to gain even more assets for the upcoming draft. Because I talked about Indiana already not being the most desirable destination for these big names free agents. So guys like Halliburton, like I said, I still think that he thrives without Brogdon. I expect his numbers to be inflated, like I talked about already, since he'll be the primary ball handler, the secondary ball handler, and he's going to be running about 95% of that offense. Um, I'll be, definitely looking to target his assists early. Depending on where they set that line at, especially with Malcolm Brogdon gone in Boston now, his rebounds and assists I think will be also another interesting play. And then this whole, just PRAs in general. You want to target this team heavily on days, like I said, when they're playing against a team that runs at a fast pace and that doesn't play a lot of defense. After acquiring Halliburton last season, they finished 11th overall in pace post All-Star break. So I'm interested to see what this team, like I said, an interesting team, an exciting team. Not that they'll necessarily win a lot of games, but I'm interested to see what that looks like. I'm interested in watching this team as well. As far as strength of schedule, they do have the seventh most difficult schedule. They also are one of only 3 teams that have a 7-game road trip over the course of 11 days from November 27th to December 7th. That's going to be a difficult stretch for them here, especially on a lot of the back-to-backs. I'll definitely be looking to target, playing against this team, especially a young team that, has a lot to prove, but, they're going to have some growing pains for sure. They start the season on the second night against the Washington Wizards at home. Then San Antonio comes into play. So they get some of the, I guess some of the teams that also won't make the playoffs that I'm not projecting to make the playoffs anyway. But even the team like the Wizards, I think, has a lot more talent than they have, especially with everybody healthy. Then they also get Detroit. That might be I couldn't see this team beating Detroit either. And then things get a little difficult. They get some playoff teams from last year. They go to Philly, they go to Chicago, they go to Washington, back-to-back games in Brooklyn, Miami, New Orleans, Denver, Toronto. So it gets really, really difficult, and they get a really, really difficult stretch to start the season. 3 home games in a row, but then 5 games on the road against some really, really good teams. Not a lot of nationally televised games, even though they have 2 of their first about 12. But those are more so for the teams that they're playing against, not necessarily to be broadcasting them. So that's what I got, man, on the Indiana Pacers. If you guys got thought on the Indiana Pacers, definitely request up, or jump on YouTube and leave your comments over there if you can't talk. But I'm interested to hear from everybody else. What are you guys thinking about the Indiana Pacers? Anybody agree with me? Disagree with me? The floor is for you guys. I see Joy is requested up. My guy Joy's in the building. What up, Joy? Definitely feel free to share your thoughts on the Indiana Pacers, bro. What you thinking about them?
Chris, what's going on, my brother?
What's up, bro? I'm doing all right. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Little frustrating start to the day with the Georgia game, drop pass, but other than that, it's been a good day in MLB. Man, I thought I was finally gonna have you on a spot that you forgot to mention, and then you went ahead and you touched on the rough stretch in the schedule. So, solid breakdown once again. I agree 100% with what you said about the market is kind of daring you to take the under, but that's the way that I look at it, and that's the way that I played it. I am on it. I believe that this team got worse than last year, especially losing Brogdon. And I hate to fade Halliburton. That's my guy, but this team doesn't match up to any of the teams in the East to me. I think that the Pistons work them. I think that the Wizards work them. And those are some of the bottom of the barrel teams to me. So I know it's a short line, but I can't see this team winning 25 games in the same way that I had broke down the Wizards with you the other day. It's the same way that I look at this team. At any moment, they could send Miles Turner, and then I'm blanking on the other name, Buddy Hield. I just feel like at any moment they can ship these guys away, and then they're full-blown tank mode. You're getting to the late March, April. Dudes are sitting. Dudes got fake injuries. We saw that with Brogdon last year all the time. I just expect to see that again. I don't think that they got any better. We always talk about how much better that the East got. I just see this team as a punching bag throughout the season. I don't think the roster is going to stay the same throughout the season. So, yeah, I went ahead and I rode with the under 24.5. I know it's a short line. I think it's priced correctly, where a lot of people look at that and think, oh, they could win 25. I just don't see it. They don't move me. Their off season didn't move me. As much as I love Halliburton, you can only do so much. So yeah, I look at the under and I play the under.
Yeah, Joey, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, it's the only way I would be able to look, man. I know, like I said, I think this team, like I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but we got to look at the Eastern Conference, right? And I was actually I was talking to somebody earlier, and I was kind of like going through, some of these, just how I anticipate the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference to be, and the fact of the matter is that you can't predict every team to be good this year. Like every team is never going to be good. So when we're looking at these breakdowns, right, and we're thinking about, you just got to think about all the teams that you predict to be better than this team, right? Miami Heat, Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, Milwaukee Bucks, Toronto Raptors, Brooklyn Nets, Cleveland, Atlanta. Like that's 8 teams, and I haven't mentioned the Chicago Bulls yet, or
It's the whole Eastern
right,
Conference.
right. Like there's no other way. There's nowhere else for this team to go. Like they'll definitely be, trying to, in the market for the guy, the 7'5" guy. What's his name? Wendell Wimbin, the guy that's playing in French right now. I just posted a tweet.
Victor.
What is it, Joey? What's his name?
I thought it was Victor.
Victor Win. What's his? I can't pronounce his last name. But
Yeah, I don't. I just say Victor.
right. All of these teams that aren't making the playoffs will probably get into tank mode. I just posted a tweet up top. I saw that earlier, posted by NBA beat writer, and I absolutely agree with that. Right, like this guy's already being talked about pretty highly. So yeah, I see Stewart is in the YouTube comments, and Stewart says, I think the Pacers might surprise some people this season. Obviously, young talent can go either way, but a bit sneaky upside, in my opinion. Turner also feels like he's being a bit disrespected. So, Stuart, I would say that I actually like Turner. I think maybe he's, I don't know what source you're looking at, as far as like an opinion for him, but I like Miles Turner. I think he definitely impacts the game on the defensive end, which is needed for them for sure. He can extend it, extend the. He can spread the floor and shoot the three, of course. And he's a big body that can do a lot for your team at the center position. The problem with Turner, like Joey said, is he might not even be there. Right? They're still talking about shipping this guy and him not being there. So when you're thinking about this team, I think that they go in absolute rebuild mode and don't have high, super high expectations at all. So I would agree with Joey on that. And like I said, I don't know like how you're assessing them, Stuart, but I'm not, at all trying to be disrespectful. I think more so just, looking at where I can take them, and I can't take them over at all. So, like I said, exciting team, just like I said about the Kings, right? These teams don't have to necessarily be, the greatest teams for us to feel like they're going to be exciting and us for us to want to watch them play, obviously. But I don't think that they, make any noise in the Eastern Conference. And I think that they probably finish behind every team in the Eastern Conference. Also, like I think that they're going to be like, I think the Knicks are going to be better, the Wizards are going to be better, the Pistons will be better, and the Magic will be better. And they finished above the Magic last year by 3 games, and they finished above the Pistons by 2 games. But I still think that both of those teams made better offseason acquisitions, and the Pacers probably end up being the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Anybody else got thoughts on the Indiana Pacers or NBA props? I see you jumped up here, my brother. What's going on? I hope you're doing pretty well. I definitely want to get your thoughts on the Indiana Pacers, bro. Welcome
What's
up.
going on, Chris?
What's up, prop?
How's
How
it
you
going,
doing,
man?
bro?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
It's
That
been a
summer just
while.
passed in a blink of an eye, and now we're back in October,
Yes,
or
sir.
nearly at least.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, you guys are pretty spot on with this assessment about the Pacers, man. Like obviously they're probably going to be tanking for Wembanyama later for next year. They're definitely one of the candidates to have one of the worst records in the league or Eastern Conference at least. But yeah, I mean, you know me, like I like to look at things from the player props angle. Like I can't talk myself out of Tyrese. This may be a hot take for some, but I think he leads the league in assists per game this year. Obviously, no Brogdon around. Who's the next guy on their depth chart? Like Duarte. This guy's got the keys to the car. It may not be a nice, shiny, brand new car. It's one of those used clunkers, but it's just straight up volume, and he handles the ball well, and he dishes things out. They've got some capable scorers on a given night, right? Like you can see Miles Turner turn it up one night. Maybe Jaden said gets some fucking crazy points another night. That rookie Mather and the Canadian boy from Montreal too, that impressed in college, and I'm hoping and you know what, that guy's definitely not short on confidence. You ever heard any of his pressers or his interviews? The guy's like thinks he's the next Jordan, but yep. You know, he's gonna want to hit the ground running. This team's like, the potential is sky high. They probably won't realize it this year, but Tyrese is definitely gonna facilitate that offense like no other, and like the whole assists per game angle that I think he's going to be the leader lends more to like his main competition is like Luka. Obviously, Luka's got to stay healthy. DeJounte would have been his competition, but him going to Atlanta, they kind of cancel each other out, him and Trey, right? Like they're going to be handling 50-50, 60-40 down the line. This guy's got everything. He's got all the volume ball handler can have, and I wouldn't be surprised we see north of like 12 assists per game when it's all said and done, 11 assists per game, like just in the limited time that he had last year. Not limited time, but you know, he had Brogdon in and around ball handling while he was on the floor. Like he averaged, I think, 9.6 around there with the Pacers, and that was like without knowing his teammates that well. You know what I mean? Like he came mid-season around March or so, and now he's got a full summer with these guys, and we'll see how it goes. But Tyrese Halliburton, don't be surprised seeing like 15, 18 assist games during the season.
Hey, Prop, that was spot on, bro. Excellent analysis, and that's what I was kind of alluding to when I talked about it at the beginning. I absolutely agree with that. I think Halliburton, also everything that you mentioned, Prop, I won't regurgitate everything that you said, but I also want to mention that, you know, I think Halliburton he plays with a lot of pride. He was a guy that, you know, thought that he was going to stay in Sacramento for his whole career. So you really see him turn up, you know, in games where he you know, after he was traded. And I think, like you said, you know, losing Malcolm Brogdon, he got every key to the car. Like he got the key to the dealership over there. Any car he want, he can get from over there. So I would agree with that assessment. I think him leading the league in assists is definitely in play, just like you said, based off volume alone. Props. So I like I said, I won't regurgitate a lot of that, but I absolutely agree with your assessment.
Yeah, sure. Like just to add on to what you're saying, like, yeah, he's one of those guys. He doesn't mail it in. Like he's got a chip on his shoulder. Mm-hmm. He's got something to prove. Yep. Being traded the way he was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone pretty much thought he was going to stick with the Kings. Like, and in all these spaces, as much I heard as much like, oh, the Kings are stupid for giving him away. I kind of agree with it. Obviously, they had a decision to make on their hands with De'Aaron Fox having a resurgence coming back. But, I mean, I love Tyrese, so I personally think it was a poor decision on their part. But this is the type of guy, like, you're down 20, he'll come in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes left, and he'll try, like, his hardest. Like, he does not quit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, like, yeah, even, like, games where, you know, like, blowouts, he's not necessarily a blowout-proof type of player. Like, he might be blowout-proof, rather. That's what I meant. Like, he's the type of guy, you take a number on him, you got a shot every time with this guy every night, barring injury or foul trouble naturally.
Yeah, I could only agree with that, Prop, for sure. Excellent breakdown, man. Anybody else got anything on the Pacers? Definitely request up, but I don't want to stick around too long on the Pacers, even though I want to give everybody a chance to speak on them. But I think that's an excellent analysis, man. I think we did a pretty good job. I appreciate you, Joey, for being here and providing your insight, as well as NBA Prop. I think you guys definitely did your homework, and I think we're all aligned for sure. I think we're definitely aligned on the Indiana Pacers this season. And I love Halliburton from a prop perspective, from an assist perspective. And like Joey said, I would only be looking towards the under on this team's win total as well, being that the other teams got better. And I don't think the Pacers anticipate winning a lot of games this year. That's something else we got to take into consideration, right? Like are they even wanting to win, or are they wanting to be in the running for a number one draft pick? Like I talked about, the market is slim to none over there. Nobody's talking about wanting to go play in Indiana. So, you know, taking those things into consideration as well. Oh yeah, so I got some YouTube comments. Go Warriors in here. Iggy back in the Bay. It's over for the league. Okay, let's get into it. Let's transition over on the West Coast to Golden State. I'm gonna try to get over there one time this year to see these guys in action. I've never been to a Warriors game, so I'm interested to see what it's like. I'm trying to go to the Bay. I'm trying to get that set up right now, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about this team, man. So uh, the Warriors have I think I saw it at 220 plus 220 odds to win the Pacific Division. It was plus 175 on BetMGM. So, like I always tell you guys, make sure you're line shopping to get the best line. If you think that the Warriors are going to, in fact, win their division, or you think it's worth the half unit, quarter unit, sprinkle, whatever you want to do with it. As far as additions, this team, this is this will be a different role playing team. They bring back their core, but the role players on this team have changed a little bit, and I'm gonna get into that. So Dante DiVincenzo comes over from the Sacramento Kings, so he didn't have to travel far. They got him on a 2-year deal. JaMychal Green signed with this team as well. You bring back Kevon Looney on a 3-year deal, which I like that for this team a lot. And then, as Stuart just mentioned in the YouTube comments, Andre Iguodala actually announced yesterday that he's going to return and told Steph this is last year. I think it's year number 19 for Andre Iguodala, which is crazy because I remember being in high school going to Madison Square Garden, and Andre Iguodala was at the Jordan brand classic, the Jordan Classic brand high school basketball game when I went, and this was way back in 2000 and like 6 or 2000. Yeah, I think it was 2005, 2006. So it's crazy to think that this guy's still in the NBA. That was 17 years ago. But I remember seeing him at that game. So that's neither here nor there. As far as subtractions, they lose Damian Lee. He ended up going to the Suns. Gary Payton II went to the Blazers, got him a nice little bag and went to the Blazers. Otto Porter Jr. is now up north. He went to Toronto. Bialincia signed with an overseas team. Excuse me. And then Juan Toscano Anderson signed with my Lakers. So those are guys that got, some minutes last year. Gary Payton II, being really big. Otto Porter Jr. being another really, really big contributor for that team. Bialincia, we saw him step up in the playoffs. But Juan Toscano Anderson, not so much. Damian Lee, not so much. They did keep Moody. Of course, Wiggins comes back, and the solid core of Steph, Draymond, and Clay are also going to return as well. Last season, as far as the last season recap, we saw this team. I was thinking about this earlier. We saw this team go through a lot of adversity last year, from Steph and Clay and Draymond being hurt and not being able to kind of play together. I think is what lended some hesitation, at least on my end, for the expectations for this team. You need to have that chemistry and camaraderie together, right? You need those games where that time where you've played with those guys. And for them, because they, fortunately for them, they've been blessed to be playing with each other for an extremely long period of time. And we saw them kind of, just kind of get it together late and really, take their game to the next level and prove the world wrong again, winning the championship without KD, I think, which was a big piece for them. We also saw this team struggle to play defense in the middle of the season. I don't know if anybody remember that run, but it was a run where they came to the West Coast and struggled against teams like the Wizards and the Orlando Magic. I remember them losing that game. So trying to get the guys just integrated back together. This team won. This is the scary part. The team won 53 of 64 games last season when the big three actually did play together. So when Steph, Clay, and Draymond were all together, they won 53 of 64 games. That's 82%. Coming off a championship can mean some teams struggle at times, but I think that this team is, primed to kind of keep it rolling this season. I'd only look towards taking them over their win total, which you can get at 51.5 or 52.5, but definitely shop around, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. I think for me, it's just Kerr's system, right? The way that these guys play without the ball is beautiful to watch, first of all. This is how you want to see basketball. You don't want to see a bunch of one-on-one basketball, guys just kind of standing around. But this team is so unselfish, right? I think these guys naturally probably will win, 52 games this year. They may not be locked in defensively early, is what I'm thinking. Just coming off that natural championship high. But they're extremely professional, right? We know that this team is a team that's going to bring it majority of the nights. And they'll pick it up when they need to, for sure. Even if it's not in the first quarter of the game, first half of the game, I think we still see it kind of locked in. I also think that they understand that their window is closing, right? So that's the opposite of being, complacent, right? Or having that hangover. It's like, yo, how many more times will we get a chance to actually run this back and do it again together? So I think because they understand that, that also is added motivation for sure as well. Um, the other thing I wanted to mention is just a couple key stats. So last season, this team finished second in defensive in rating. They finished fourth in net rating. They finished first in assist percentage on the advanced metrics. They finished eighth in rebounding, and they shot the 10th best from three and the eighth best from the 10th best from two and the eighth best from three. And that was a year when they weren't even all together healthy, right? So this year you get, like I said, you get Wiggins back. Poole has actually been working out with Steph. I don't know if people saw this, but Jordan Poole has actually been working out with Steph trainer, which is kind of scary. Guys like Kuminga come back and get another year development in this system. Man, you get Wiseman back, who I feel like has something to prove, being that he had such a high draft stake. He was drafted so highly. Moses Moody returned. I think as long as this team stays motivated and healthy, that they can pretty much do what they want to do, and they can definitely come back out of the Western Conference. Even though the Western Conference got better, I feel like Golden State also got better. I'm not real big on them losing a guy like Gary Payton II, but I still think that they can pretty much pick their own destination as long as they stay motivated and healthy and have just as high of a potential to get back to the NBA Finals as any other team in the Western Conference. Last season, they finished 53-29, which was 11 games behind Phoenix in the Pacific Division. And if you remember at the beginning of last season, these games were always televised when their records were kind of close to each other. Then we see Golden State take a big step back as Phoenix kind of went on and just pretty much won. It feels like every single game because Golden State had those injuries that kind of came into play. Ultimately, they went on to beat Denver in the first round 4-1. In the second round, they got Memphis. They beat them 4-2. And then they beat Dallas 4-2 as well. And then, or did they beat Dallas 4-1? They beat Dallas 4-2 or 4-1. And then ultimately, of course, we know what they did to the Boston Celtics in the actual NBA Finals. So I'm high on this team. Like I said, projected win totals 52.5 on Caesars. It's 51.5 on DraftKings. Plus 600 for them to win the championship, which is the second lowest odds after the Boston Celtics. Right now, you can get the Boston Celtics at a plus 550 on Caesars, and the Golden State Warriors are plus 600 for them to repeat. I think the line makers are giving them, a pretty good chance, which I would anticipate as well. They come back, like I said, they're healthy. They got the big three intact. Steve Kerr's still there. And they don't really, I don't assess them losing that much, even though they do get a turnover, as far as role players go. But I trust Steve Kerr and the coaching staff to be able to put these new guys in positions to be successful. I think they'll lean on their vets. As far as the strength of schedule, this team is right in the middle of the pack, about 14th. They also have the longest homestand, which I feel like they always do of any team during the NBA. They have a span from December 25th to January 10th, where they'll play 8 straight home games. Nobody else in the NBA has that, right? So that's something else that you kind of take into consideration. Like I said, I think this team could come out just a tad bit sluggish. Maybe they don't cover, point spreads in the beginning. They are the Golden State Warriors, so we can anticipate them to be, extreme favorites, probably in a lot of matchups. But I don't know if they cover all those, but I do like the Golden State Warriors to probably get back to the NBA Finals. I haven't really assessed where I think they'll finish as far as that goes, but I definitely think that they have the potential to get all the way back to the NBA Finals, and I'm pretty bullish on their win total at 52.5. Last year, like I said, 53 without the guys. They won 82% of those games that they all played together. I could only look towards that for them to get over that 53 or 52 games, depending on whether you want wherever you want to play it at. So those are my thoughts and my opinions on the Golden State Warriors. Joey, if you are free and you got thoughts on the Golden State Warriors, I definitely want to hear them, bro. And the NBA prop, if you got something, I'm gonna kick it to you as well.
Hey man, so I cut out at one point when you were listing some players. So if you did mention it and I missed it, I apologize. But I looked at this line for a little bit. because I got a lot of win total futures in, and I looked at the Warriors for a while, and I didn't quite know how to play it because you have to always take into the matter championship hangover, as you mentioned. But these dudes are professionals, and great reference saying that the window's closing. They're aware of that, and there's more reasons than it. But I think a lot of people forgot about somebody named James Wiseman, who's coming back this year.
Yep.
And I think that that's going to be huge. Rotate him around within the lineup. And then maybe I'm a little biased because I'm a Bucks guy, but I think that Dante DiVincenzo still has a decently high ceiling. I'm not going to say he's going to be a star or anything, but he'll be great for whenever Steph needs to get off the floor, have Dante run in there, control the offense, especially when he's surrounded by a bunch of veterans like Clay and Dre and Iggy. So I played it over, especially with the fact, as you mentioned, this team never even had a smooth run until the late, like last third of the season. Clay came back. Clay was rusty. Clay took a while to get back into the swing of things, and you still look at what they did. And I think the way that they totaled these wins at this year was appropriate. You take off a couple wins because you lost a couple players, but I feel like it's a little bit of an overreaction as far as who they actually lost. Gary Payton, losing him doesn't really move me. The guy who went overseas, I always struggle with his name. You said it, but I forget.
Yeah, Bialencia.
Him doesn't really move me. I think that they got a great core right now as far as dudes that can come off the bench with Kuminga and Dante and Wiseman. And the thing that really pushed me over the edge was the fact that Wiseman comes back. I think a lot of people forgot about him. I saw a couple of videos of him working out. I know they always look amazing in the workout videos, but just a chance for this kid to really show why he was such a valued draft pick. Yeah, I took the over 51.5. I understand the championship hangover thing, but I think that the only thing that affects will be, like you mentioned, maybe they won't cover these -9 spreads at the start of the season and all that stuff. I like them to get 52 wins. I just can't see this team losing 30 games. Like just sit there and ask yourself out loud. Just say, do I think the Golden State Warriors lose 30 games? And that was kind of the answer for me. I can't see the team losing 30 games. So yeah, that was one of the first win totals I put in my pocket was the over 51.5.
Love it, Joy. Love it. And I think I think that's the question you ask yourself, right? Does this team lose 30 games? And just how, like I said, ball movement, Wiseman coming back. Steve Kerr is a great coach too, so we'll see how motivated he can get his guys to be on a nightly basis. But like you said, Joy, extremely professional, right? So I would also, like I said, I'm glad we're aligning on these, Joy, because I would only be able to take them over as well. Winning 82% of their games that they all played together with the big three. And they just find things that motivate them, right? They just find something every single time that motivates them. So I'm extremely excited to see what that looks like out in the Bay as well. Let me kick it to NBA props real quick, and then Tony, I want to come to you as well. Prop, what's your assessment on the Golden State Warriors, man? What you thinking?
Yeah, this is it's almost unfair. Like these guys just came off a championship run, and it's gonna be more the same, I think, in my opinion, this season, where there's gonna be injuries, but there's gonna be the next man up guy. And obviously, it's not gonna be like for like with guys like Kuminga and Wiseman, Poole, but they're just gonna rack up more and more minutes and develop more and more. It's scary, what these guys do. It's almost like a perfect revolving door. You still have the ability and talent of the starting five, and then these guys learning under them and getting plenty of minutes because there's going to be blowouts. Kerr is going to rotate these guys. You got Iguodala, who just signed another season. This guy's going to be mentoring all these guys too, showing them how to be true professionals, like you keep mentioning. It's scary, man. And you saw Wiggins, what he did with the time that he had this season and the step up he took. He's the unofficial MVP of the finals this year.
Facts.
And this guy's it's scary. The one setback that I have that I think is a pretty it would be a big piece for a team that didn't have as much depth as these guys do, is losing Peyton just because of how much of a dog he was in the finals. And like, it's no surprise that when he was on the floor and he came back from that injury versus Memphis, that like he was like a spark plug offensively, defensively, no doubt too. But losing him hurts a little. But you've got a whole season for these guys to develop. Like, it's gonna be, they're gonna get off to a hot start. Someone's gonna get hurt. They're gonna do cruise control to like, I don't know, March, April. They're gonna gel again, and it's gonna be lights out for everyone else. I don't know. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, they'll hit their stride at the right part of the season. I absolutely agree with that prop, and they probably already anticipate that too. You know, like we'll turn it on. You know, that switch will be flipped at the appropriate time, and we'll be ready to fully commit to basketball, and the league will really be in trouble then. So.
Yeah, and then signing up Dante too helps too, right? Like, you got a young dynamic guy who's he's a.
You breaking up, prop. I think if you're still there, you breaking up just a tad bit. You might have got a phone call. But yeah, I wanted to add on Dante DiVincenzo too. I think, Joey, I know you mentioned him. I mentioned him as well, but I didn't talk a lot about him. I do think that he's in a prime spot right now to really, just buy in and fit into a system and, potentially make yourself a lot more money as well. If you haven't been watching, I've been watching Dante DiVincenzo for a while now, but, even before he came to Sacramento, he was a guy that I was, paying attention to. I love that he can create his own shot, but I think that he fits in a system like this because he's such a good shooter, right? So I like Dante as well. Prop, did you have more that you wanted to mention on Dante?
Sorry, Chris.
Oh, no,
I cut out. I got a couple of calls. I had to decline them. But you pretty much had finished up my thought pretty well, pretty succinctly there. He's a serviceable guy off the bench, especially too, right? Like, and then you got Moody as well, and the guard position's pretty good. So these guys are set up for the next few years to come, and it may be like a problem. There's not going to be any like turnover really, right? Like, by the time Curry, Clay, and Wiggins, and I mean Wiggins is still young too, which is wild. But like, by the time there's a turnover there and changing of the guard, if they still have these young guys under control and they develop the way they should, like, it's scary.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Kuminga, Wiseman, Jordan Poole. Yeah, it can get real scary for sure. Tony, let me kick it to you, and then Monotone. Shout out to my guy Monotone for being here. Monotone, I definitely want to get your thoughts as well, my brother. Tony, if you got thoughts on the Golden State Warriors, definitely want to hear them, man. I appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you having me. I mean, it's honestly, like every point that's been mentioned so far, it's kind of alluding to the same thing I am, and I kind of agree with everything that's been said. My only honestly, the key factor for next season would be how healthy and how Klay Thompson is going to perform. So basically, I feel like this team can actually take a further step with, the Klay of old in terms of, his, basically last year was the test run, was trying to get his legs back, trying to get his rhythm back. Mm-hmm. But we saw that he's not, like, he was still a threat. He was still there. He had moments, but it was not consistent. So if this season he can, this is the first off season he has that he's not focusing on his injury and more focusing on his game. So I feel like that's going to be interesting. It's going to be deadly, because if they can get the Klay of old, I think that's going to just propel them to probably a higher level, and probably compensate in the defensive end also, because Klay is known for his offense, but his defense is where he's just, he can guard and defend pretty well. So that's just my take. Honestly, this team is kind of unfair, if I'm being honest. So the basically what it's been mentioned before, but their rotation, their bench unit rotation is probably a good, a good team in the NBA by themselves. So a good tanking team, or a good. It's just the depth is wild. The depth of this team is wild. But yeah, it's probably going to depend. If they can take leaps, Wiseman, if Moody can take another leap, and I think if you have a healthy Klay, you can basically put some load into his game and basically rest up some of Curry's minutes and just create another perimeter, kind of perimeter juggernaut in Klay Thompson. So that was my take. But thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Sonny. I would only agree with that as well, man. Another year to get Klay. We got to remember, Klay was out. Klay was without basketball for a while, man. Like this wasn't half a season, the whole season. This was, almost. This was 2 seasons. So yeah, being back, getting back, and finding a rhythm and a routine. I think he's a guy that just prides himself and eats, sleeps, and drinks basketball as well. And is the ultimate competitor, right? Like everywhere he's gone, every time you see him on a Snapchat or Instagram or anything, he just talking about them winning. So, definitely don't want to have a bad taste in his mouth, and probably comes out and willing to perform. And if anybody remembers, Klay also didn't have the greatest game 5 last year either. He didn't play extremely well. So I mean, Klay finds anything to be motivation, and I do think that his struggles, even though they're warranted without him coming back and not having his legs and all those things, he's still going to be frustrated and upset with himself, and kind of just be out to prove people wrong, prove himself, prove everybody wrong. That's just what Klay does, man. So definitely agree with that as well. I know Monotone came up, but I think he dropped back down. If anybody else got thoughts on the Golden State Warriors, definitely feel free to share. Joey, I see you come up. What's up, Joey? Or
yeah,
Prop?
I just wanted to.
You go ahead.
I just want to say what Prop said was a perfect word when he called Dante serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
I actually I threw in a presser up there that I had watched earlier. Just and I'm with you, Chris. I've been watching Dante for a while since Nova, since he had the red kicks with Cream City jerseys on my squad.
Uh-huh.
He's a great dude to have, and even when I had broke it down, I didn't even mention some of the names that Tony and Prop had mentioned. You got Moses Moody, and you got Wiggins, and Poole is going to come back even better. It's just there's no way to really look at the under for this team. And I did my math wrong, actually, when I said, say out loud, will this team lose 30 games? They would actually have to lose 31.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'm just really how I feel that Dante's really, like, bought into this system about being that second team, like, leader, and just the fact that I think I'm sold on Wiseman, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Looney has been speaking very, very highly of him. Says that I think the quote was strong as hell and athletic. So they've been working together in practice today. The team is a cheat code. I can't see who beats them out in the West.
Yeah, Joey, I agree. I think the put the bow on top is when you think about like the adversity that they struggled through when Klay didn't come back, but then when Klay came back, Steph got hurt, and then Draymond went down, right? So you're constantly having to just kind of pick and pull to and fight to get wins. And this year, I think we all anticipate them having a better just a more a luckier season as far as health is related. And even if one of them does go down, they still have the other two. But the odds that all three of them get hurt and they end up playing the amount of time that they played together last year, I think is slim to none, which is what you're saying, Joey, which only leads me to take I can only look towards the over on this win total. Like I said, future bets, tie your money up, but I think this is a pretty good one. I think it's a pretty good one for sure. And that's all I got, man. We've been doing this I've been on YouTube for 48 minutes, close to 50 minutes, and I don't really pick a time, for these. I'd like to keep all of them under an hour. But as long as they're being productive, I think, I just really enjoy the conversation for sure. So we'll go ahead, Prop.
Yeah, Chris, I was just going to say, like, just to, temper expectations a little bit, because it's always good to have the other side or devil's advocate angle on it. Now, I do not see them losing 31 games or 30 games, but we can't forget Western Conference getting an injection of players that we missed out on last year, like Kawhi. And, we got Jamal Murray with Denver, and Jokic together, and Jokic is going to be hungry after winning the MVP again. Like, it's going to be fun. This season is going to be awesome. Just, barring any injuries, God forbid, we get robbed of any marquee players like the ones I just named and the ones who are coming back in both conferences. But it's going to be a good time.
Absolutely, Prop. And that is important to mention. The Timberwolves also. We got Christian Wood on Dallas. Memphis will still be hungry, even though they'll be without Jared Jackson Jr. early. So all of those are, definitely teams to mention. The Lakers, hopefully, will get an AD back that's healthy, and him and Bron. I got to throw us in there. But yeah, I think that's important to mention as well, Prop. But I still would only be able to look towards the over for sure. Yeah, and I think I think that's a good way to to wrap it up, man. I appreciate you guys for being here. If you guys missed any of this, it's recorded over on the YouTube page. The tweet is pinned up top, beside the one that Joey has pinned, about Dante DiVincenzo. It's also recorded on YouTube, so definitely check out the YouTube. I've done every team now. We only have 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We only got 10 teams left. So all of the NBA previews, the games to watch, all of those things have been mentioned. And one thing that we didn't mention, I think we all probably circled this in our head. Maybe we didn't verbalize it. And I'm talking to Joey and Prop and, probably some other people in here as well. But going back to that Pacers game real quick, to the Pacers preview, when Halliburton gets the Kings, that's going to be a game you want to circle. That's going to be a game you definitely want to circle, is Halliburton versus the Kings. It don't matter if they come into Indiana or if, definitely if he's traveling out to Sacramento. So that'll be something that you guys want to watch as well. Tomorrow we have a team preview for the Detroit Pistons and the Memphis Grizzlies. So be sure to tune in there. Monday we get the Bucks. I'm doing the Bucks and the Portland Trail Blazers. And then on Tuesday, we'll do the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Boston Celtics. Orlando and Phoenix will be on Wednesday, and then the Rockets and Miami will wrap up on Thursday, and that'll be it. That'll be it. We get preseason basketball on Friday, so definitely, one of the reasons why I wanted to try to get these previews in, do 2 teams a day. The grind never stops, and it's actually just getting started, man. We got a lot of money to make this NBA season, though, which is why I'm doing these previews. So I appreciate you guys for being here as always. If you're over on YouTube, make sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, like I always say. And best of luck on all the other bets that you got placed today, whether it's college football or MLB. But I'll see you guys again tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good night.